Thank you, Mr. Chair. Appreciate it, and I appreciate all the witnesses being here. My first question goes to Ms. Anguilera. In a statement last month, you mentioned, quote, "But for real comprehensive, robust oversight, it can't be done remotely. The closer we are, the more comprehensive the oversight will be." So my question is, can you provide me the steps that your department has taken to check the use of assistance to Ukraine once it's in the country, since you mentioned it previously? And additionally, can you tell me how many auditors have been sent to the Ukraine?
Sure. Thank you, Congressman, for that question. To date, to be clear, we have had no permanent staff assigned to Embassy Kyiv. USAID OIG is unique because we do have Foreign Service staff and personnel who are willing and ready to go. We are in the process, as I mentioned, with our colleagues here to go through the State Department process requesting those permanent positions. To date, besides my colleague and I who went for the day in January, we've had 2 investigators that were just able to go in TDY for 3 days this week. They were law enforcement criminal agents doing fraud awareness briefings and working on MOUs that we are having signed with 5 separate government agencies with within the government of Ukraine. To date, we have not personally had any auditors go TDY or go to Ukraine. How we're doing our work, as I mentioned, on the direct budget support, we are reviewing all of the reports that are coming in from the World Bank, from Deloitte, and from USAID, and the ones that are being submitted to Congress and that we have access to, and are taking an independent assessment to see if there are any red flags that would warrant a further deep dive from our office. But that being said, we are also, I think we mentioned our hotline poster, which we distributed within Ukraine, is widely circulated right now, hence the 556% increase in the reports that have come to us. So there are ways that we are being able to do our work effectively, but I think to be as comprehensive as we possibly can be, nothing replaces eyes on the ground, seeing the programming happening and making those relationships.
So thank you, and then I want to turn to all the witnesses, and that question deals with the Ukrainian government, and have they been proactive and helpful partner to provide these oversights, and how willing has the Ukrainians been to open their books and allow full transparency of how assistance is being used? So all 3 witnesses, want to start with Ms. Shaw.
Thank you for your question. So it is still early days, but I think we've made a really good start. When we were there in January, the 3 of us had the opportunity to meet with a range of well-positioned and important Ukrainian officials within the government. And so we conveyed a very unambiguous message about the American expectations around transparency and accountability. As I said in my opening, that message was well received at the time, but of course the proof is in the pudding. And so we are building on those initial interactions to deepen our relationships, to identify trusted partners, not just within the Ukrainian government, but in law enforcement, within the prosecutorial entities as well. And so while we haven't met with any resistance to date, and so far there's been broad willingness, we're continuing to press that.
Ms. Anguilera?
Yeah, I would echo all of that and say that to date our office is in the process and have received commitments, and in some instances are sharing drafts of an MOU with the Prosecutor General, with NABU, with SAPA, which is the Special Prosecutor for Anti-Corruption, with the Ministry of Finance, with the Economic Security Bureau, and with the Ministry of Infrastructure. So those are all tangible MOUs that are in the works right now between my office and these government entities. In addition, we have agents there right now that are working on establishing additional relationships and then implementation of how this is going to look. We can have MOUs, but what does it look like to say we agree to share information? And that's happening by our 2 investigators that have been there the last 3 days. So making significant steps towards that as expeditiously as we can.
And I see the limited time. I'd echo all of that. And I suppose the other thing I'd add is that we're working very closely together on this as well. So we're able to partner to ensure that we're leveraging one another's experiences there. So between us and then the larger working group, we're really able to do this.
So maybe we can start with you next time and you'll have more time, okay? Thank you very much. I yield back.